E para iniciar os trabalhos, então, chamamos ao palco o misterioso, enigmático e performático Dr. Wires.
Boa noite. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Wires. You can see I have a little display here. I should be using an old analog technique, even though we're in the digital age, and even though I'm called Dr. Wires, I hope you will realize that what I have to say to you is as relevant to a wireless age as it is to a wired age. And now, I shall begin. This evening's talk by Dr. Wires is on meaningful emergence. That is, the emergence of meaning that makes sense to us as human beings, and in particular, makes sense to more than just one of us. Indeed, meaning, of course, when it is shared, is the most relevant to all of us as we live our lives on a daily basis, and it is under this premise that I begin this evening to talk to you about meaningful emergence. In particular, Dr. Wise' understanding this evening of the concept of art is one that I think we all have a sense of. Art, of course, is the things that we see that expresses human life, that expresses our daily existence, that gives us a feeling of wonderfulness, a feeling of sadness, a feeling of greatness, and a feeling of smallness. Art, indeed, expresses our life every day and in every way. Dr. Wise has a little equation that he'd like to apply now, which is that life now plus art now equals life plus plus. You see, the idea is that in time, if we experience life now and art now, it increases. Let me explicate this just a little bit further for you in the following way. If we say art now minus life equals, life plus plus minus life now. Do you follow this? What Dr. Wise is trying to say is that there is a difference between life before art and after art. There's a change. There's something new that follows. There's something extraordinary that happens. And now what Dr. Wise wishes to focus on, furthering this immediate concept, is, does art now have to be new? Can it be old? Well, if art were only old, then how good would it be, after all? It would be old art. It wouldn't change our lives today. It changed someone's life a long time ago, but it's not changing our lives today, so it's not as good. And indeed, the amount of change might be small, or it might be large. So, how does this happen? How does a change come about in our daily lives as a result of art? Well, I refer to a simple cybernetic system in which a system is interacting with the world, say, acting on the world. And as a consequence, the world provides feedback to the system. And as a result of this, we have this loop of recursion. It goes around and around and around and around, and indeed, this is what we might call living. Now, this is going on all the time. It's going on for you, it's going on for Dr. Wise, but when we are an observer, and we see this activity going on in the world, and we react to it, we as observers then say, for example, if I were to look over and look down at all of you beautiful people here, and I see that you have beautiful hair, and I say, wow. Or I see a beautiful piece of art, and I say, wow, where does this wow come from? No, this is a serious question. I appreciate the laughter, but it's a serious question, Dr. Wise. Where does the wow come from? Well, let me again move to an assemblage such as this, where we have a world in which systems and worlds are taking place. This is recursion things going on, and the observer is here. But what is an observer? An observer, after all, is a nervous system. Think of all the beautiful wires in the nervous system. Think of all the wires in the brain and going up and down the arms and through the heart and down the legs and so on. This is the acting, and this is the feedback. These are the arms on the acting side, and the hearing and the eyes on the sensing side. This is the experience of the world. But in addition to that, at the same time, overlaid on that is the endocrine system. The hormones, the things that create feeling, the things that cross over the wires that are made up of the electrical system, that cause our thinking and our sensing and our acting. Overlaid on top of that is the chemical system. And it is this combination of sensing and acting, feeling and being. Just to be clear, I mean the electrical system, electrical, and the chemical, overlaying on top of one another. This is what it means to be a human being. This is what gives us our experience. It's not merely our thinking, and not merely our feeling, but both. Overlaid, one on top of the other, constantly, never ending, never, you just can't get away from it. So, what does this have to do with my topic of the evening, which is meaningful emergence? We have an observer, and we have a world, and we have a work of art. Well, that's all very good, but how does this come about? Well, there was a world of the artist, and the artist having this interaction thing, and the world of the observer. But what the artist does at some point, the artist goes and puts out this work of art. And here it is. It's a beautiful work of art. Put out, and the observer looks at it. And the observer, again, what does the observer say? The observer says, wow. Now, why is this possible? There's a very important missing piece to Dr. Wyer's very beautiful diagram. And that is that the world of the artist and the world of the observer are actually overlaying one another. And the matrix of the chemical and electrical of my nervous system, and the chemical and electrical of your nervous system, and the chemical and electrical of the artist's system are all, in fact, a common fabric. And this is how meaning is made, you see. If we don't have this in common, then we don't understand one another. If we don't share these properties of being human, Homo sapiens sapiens, you might say, then we're just not people anymore. And if we're not people, then we can't interact because we don't understand one another. So in short, the artist producing the work of art needs others. Because the artist doesn't make the damn world, does he or does she? No, the artist uses the world to have an experience and to create an expression which should be a change, which should be a wow, and this is the emergence of meaning in art. But if someone comes up to you and gives you a very, very beautiful piece of art, and you say, artist, that's very, very beautiful. Thank me for your art. Because if I'm not here and you're not there, and all of you people rather are not there, then the artist has nothing to go on side. So the point of Dr. Wyer's discussion this evening is that conversation and connection through the world enables art to exist. And the emergence of meaning in art, as in the emergence of everyday life, comes because we're all connected. And you may appreciate that Dr. Wyer's is always about connection. And one can summarize connections as, when you are born wireless. And over time, as the technology becomes more common, and your mother and father give you a telephone, and then an iPod, and then a mobile phone, and all these other things, that in the end, what we have is a wired connection. So in summary, connection is conversation. Wires mean living together. And Dr. Wyer's thanks you for being connected.
Muito bom, acho que foi um excelente começo. Fiquei pensando no verdade método do Hans Gadamer, e a gente vê aqui numa singela exposição toda a arte e a